as a runner, we have all probably made mistakes during long runs. Many times this is a learning experience and we become a smarter runner. Based upon my running experience, here are the worst mistakes that you can make during long runs. So one of the worst mistakes that you can make during long runs is starting out too fast. This is such a common mistake runners make. New runners make this mistake, and even experienced runners make this mistake. And this goes for all distances that you run, whether it is 5K and beyond. It is easy to make this mistake. It is just so easy to want to start out way too fast. All of this energy at the beginning of your run, and it feels so good, and you are just so ready to go. Especially if you've been tapering for an event, or if you had a rest day or more between the run, you just feel ready to go and have all this energy, and you get excited and anxious. So extremely common to just want to start out way too fast. You want to resist the urge of starting out too fast, because you will thank yourself when towards the middle to the end of your run. Because if you start out way too fast, your energy is eventually gonna die out, and you either might hit the wall or lose so much energy that you are slowing down, or maybe even have to walk. The last thing that you want to do is feel like you cannot finish your run because you used up all of your energy in the beginning. So you need to run nice and easy at the beginning of your run. Start at a slower pace than your goal pace. So you want to gradually build your pace as you keep running. So your goal is to shoot for negative splits during your long run, just like you would during the race. Next worst mistake that you can make during your long run is not eating or drinking enough during your run. Once you start getting into long runs that are like 14 miles or 2-hour long runs, you want to start considering bringing water with you and also some fuel. So an example of fuel that you could bring would be like sports gels or some type of sports beans. This is an example of something that you can use. There are a variety of different things you can use. So don't think that you just have to have a gel or you have to have sports beans. You can do a lot of alternative fuels. Sometimes sports gels do not agree with people. We are all different when it comes to the best fuel for us. Sports gels might not be the best for you, or sports beans might not be the best for you. So you could actually turn to real foods to see if that would work for you. And some examples of some real food that you could take with you or you could try on your runs would be like raisins, dates, dried fruits, fig Newtons, pretzels, applesauce squeeze packets. People do the baby food squeeze packets, bananas, dry cereal, or some type of energy bar. So these are just a variety of examples that you can use. There are more that you can use. So you can do whatever works for you. There's no right or wrong answer based on the fueling that you choose. I mean, obviously there are some things that you probably wouldn't want to take with you. You want something easy to take with you that will give you a quick boost of energy, just like the gels or the sports beans would. And then when you are getting into these longer runs, you want to be drinking approximately every 15 to 20 minutes. So you want to be fueling about every 45 to 60 minutes when you are getting into these longer runs. Just know that not eating enough during your long runs can reduce your performance. You could possibly hit the wall and not even finish your long run. Another worst mistake that you can make during your long runs is doing your long run after a hard workout day. You will not feel fresh during your long run if you had a hard workout and you're extremely sore. It will likely reduce your performance and slow you down. Your muscles need time to repair themselves so they can be as strong as they can be during the long run. This is going to help increase your chances of optimal performance during your run. It also reduces your risk of injury. Another worst mistake that you can make during your long run is stuffing yourself before your long run. So it is best to give yourself at least 30 to 60 minutes after you eat a light snack or a meal to let your food digest. If you happen to eat a big meal before your run, you want to at least give yourself 2 hours for that to digest. If you stuff yourself before you go for a run, you are going to feel so sluggish and you might have some stomach issues after that. The next worst mistake that you could make is forgetting the essential items that you need for the long run. So we'll just talk about some of the essential items that a lot of runners take with them on long runs. So forgetting your water is definitely not a good thing because you are going to need to hydrate yourself. It's always going to be wise to go back and get your water if you forget it. So make sure you go back, get your water, or go somewhere and pick up a water on your running route. Another thing that you want to make sure that you do not forget during your long run is your fuel, especially if you're going for a 2-hour long run or longer. You want to go back and get your fuel. Try to go back and get that if possible. Another thing you do not want to forget is paper towels, because things happen and sometimes we need to go to the bathroom during a long run. Sometimes it's just going to happen. You're going to need to go to the bathroom during a long run. A little stash of paper towels on you in case you need to go to the bathroom. Another thing you want to make sure you don't forget is your watch. So if you have a Garmin watch, I would highly suggest for a long run that you have a watch on you just so you can know your distance, your time, and your pace. If you know exactly your mile markers, it might not be that big a deal to run without a watch, but if you don't know where you're going, don't know exact markers, I would definitely make sure I remembered my watch. Another worst mistake that you do not want to make during your long run is not dressing appropriately for the weather. You definitely want to be checking your weather before the long run. You want to check the temperature. You definitely want to have an idea of how you need to dress for the run. So you don't want to overdress. So if it's cold outside and you don't want to really wear just big, thick clothing, you want to dress yourself in layers so you can shed those items if you need to. That is best. Always dress in layers, like a light shirt, maybe a jacket over it when it's chilly outside, and maybe some pants, some light pants, because you definitely don't want to get too hot. It's actually very miserable to be hot and sweaty when it's cold outside. And then you also do not want to underdress. I have done both of these. As I gained more experience as a runner, I know exactly what items I need to wear during my long run. Everyone is different when it comes dressing for long runs. Always want to experiment, and dress in layers is the best option. So obviously, if it's super hot outside, you're going to want to dress in as little clothes as possible. But you don't want to over and underdress for the weather. That is the bottom line, because you don't want to feel miserable at all during your run. Next worst mistake that you do not want to make during your long run is doing makeup miles. We all know that things happen and maybe we miss some long runs and the race is quickly approaching. Well, if you've only completed a 12-mile run, it is not wise just to jump up to a 20-mile run. You want to be a little more gradual than that. If you only could get 18 to 20-mile long run before the marathon, don't stress too much. You will probably be able to finish it. Obviously, your aerobic base is going to be a little bit better if you completed a 2 or 3 long runs, but don't stress too much because you still can complete the marathon. Just know that it's always best to gradually build up your mileage when it comes to long runs. If you cram in miles at the last minute and overdo it, you're going to have a risk of getting injured, and it's not really going to do too much for you because you're just going to be way too sore and you might possibly get injured. Have you made any of these mistakes on a long run? Please comment below. I would love to hear your feedback. And make sure you watch the next video on your screen about the truths of marathon training.